The following podcast is provided by Era Living, innovator in residential retirement options since 1987. And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we're here again this week with Era Living residents and staff. And we're so excited to have a wonderful gentleman visiting with us today who is a resident of Ida Culver House in Broadview, which is an area of Seattle. And it's a gentleman by the name of Saeed Hitti. And Saeed, you are an amazing individual. I'm so fascinated with your background. I would love to talk a little bit about that. So welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Saeed, I know you came from, before we get into your Era Living residency, tell us a little bit about your background, where you were born and your education.
I was born in Lebanon at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. And as a young man, I went to England and I studied economics, first at the London School of Economics, and then at Oxford. And I applied for a job at the International Monetary Fund, which is headquartered in Washington, D.C. And so I came exactly 60 years ago to the United States in 1963.
My goodness.
And I lived in Bethesda, Maryland. My job was international. I traveled a lot around the globe, but mostly to the Middle Eastern countries. And after retirement, my wife and I enjoyed retirement together in the Washington D.C. area. And after she passed away, I had some health problems, and my daughters invited me to come and join them in Seattle. So here I am.
And here you are. So what do you think of the greater Seattle area? You've been to so many places. I'm sure it's very different.
Oh, yes, it is very different. I can't say I know the United States very well. I know the Eastern Seaboard. But when you come to Seattle, you realize how huge a country it is. It's a different world here.
Yeah.
And it took some time for me to realize that when I say I came from Washington, I should add D.C. before leaving it just Washington.
Yes, yes. And I'm sure with Washington State, there's a lot of people that may be listening to this podcast that are thinking about, they have family here, whether a lot of their adult children live up here because of Microsoft and Boeing and all the technology organizations that are here in Seattle. So obviously, your experience, has it been a positive one?
Oh, yes. I'm quite happy here. Whereas it's a large institution. I think we have 240 residents or thereabout.
Yeah.
And there is, I would say, preponderance of highly educated people from academia, from the business world, and from other areas too. So you meet a lot of people, and it's always extremely pleasant to hear their life experiences.
So now, obviously, you live in Ida Culver Broadview in Seattle. Is that correct?
Yes,
that's where you live. So tell us a little bit about your journey of getting there.
Well, it starts with a very difficult year, which started in, say, October 2019. My wife passed, and I was diagnosed with 2 different kinds of cancers. And I had 4 hospitalizations. And to cap it all, I had COVID as well.
Oh, my goodness.
And so my daughters were being diligent and traveling backwards and forwards, but we were all persuaded that it was much easier for me to be near my daughters than to have them come to Washington, D.C.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know that you obviously came into a community and you have some hobbies. You probably tell us a little bit about, you probably play bridge. Do you travel, maybe have travel videos, things like that? What goes on that you can complement the hobbies that you have?
Well, I play bridge. I played a lot of bridge in my life, but right now here at Ida Culver, I am in charge of running the bridge club
Uh-huh.
for the residents.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody mentioned that before to you. In retirement, you are able to do most of the things that you did before, but in a measured way, on a smaller scale.
Yes.
Okay, I spent a lifetime in finance, and I run the bridge club here as though it is a financial enterprise on a very small scale.
Wow.
I collect dues, and I pass distribute prizes, and I keep a kitty on the side for surprises for the group of people. So
that's incredible. That's incredible. So we're right now doing a series on health and wellness, and one of the things is occupational wellness. It's having a sense of purpose every day, and it sounds like this is really what you do now. It's your purpose. In many cases, you have responsibilities that keep you looking forward to the day as you wake up.
Oh yes, no, I have no problem waking up and pursuing the things that I want to do. I start with a daily walk of about 1 mile. And when I have time, I'm doing some writing, bringing up to date my biography, and getting in touch with friends and family, and keeping in touch with my residents here. I have good friends here.
That's wonderful.
And the very good other activity that I do is I'm very interested in music, and there is an extremely good offering here every other Friday on lectures on music. So I attend that.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So Saeed, what has surprised you most about moving to a retirement community?
Well, you must remember that I had lived in a retirement community for a year and a half before coming here. So the adjustment from living at home to living in a community had already taken place. Some other place took the anger of adjustment. So when I came here, it was I had a bigger place than I had in Bethesda in Maryland.
Oh my goodness.
And I was already much more active and much more able to be active than I was in Bethesda. And of course, Corona restricted everybody, but now we are freer to pursue what interests us.
Yeah. And obviously, coming to a new city, a new location, things like that, it sounds like there's a lot of positive surprises along the way.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense that there are new things.
Yeah.
No is that you don't know the place. It's not like you've been living here for decades, and you know the places, you know where to go, and again I come back to the restriction that Corona placed. I mean, one didn't explore as much as one would have liked to.
Yeah.
But yes, because you realize that there are interesting people with good life stories and memories to listen to.
Yeah, I bet. So I'm just curious, what advice would you give others who are considering to moving into senior living?
First piece of advice is that do it only when it is necessary for you to do it. It is retirement community is not a cruise for the rest of your life. That's right. You have to think in terms, just as I mentioned, of doing smaller things in a paced way, not having expectations that you can resume life as it used to be before. It's a new phase in life.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody to write down, even if they don't feel that they are writers, to write down their life experiences, because I have met people here who didn't have electricity until they were 7 years old, for example.
Yeah.
The younger generation cannot even conceive of that conceptually.
True.
Besides, if you train yourself to write your experiences, think of it this way, you'll be having the last word in whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that you did is I believe you said earlier, you didn't choose the community your children did for you, but you had a say. You were involved in the process where you felt like you had choices.
Yes. I mean, logistically, it was the correct thing is to be near my daughters. And
yes,
my daughter had looked at several places here before, and when my wife was alive, we also considered North Carolina as one of other places. But all factors came to point to Seattle, because one daughter had been here for 30 years. The second daughter had moved about 2 years ago. And these were half of my children. So it all fell together into coming here.
Yeah. And you come here to our milder climate, and you don't have the humid in the summer either.
Yes, it is milder climate, and you don't have the same humidity.
Yeah.
But we have to get used to a whole new array of pollen that while you think
that's true, right?
Yes, you think that you had the eastern seaboard pollen conquered, and then you find another crop here.
Yes. Well, Saeed, it has been such an honor to talk to you and to hear about your experience at Ida Culver House in Broadview. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I am very pleased to be here. Thank you.
Era Living is locally owned and operates 8 premier retirement communities in Seattle, Renton, Mercer Island, Bellevue, and Issaquah. From vibrant, independent living to compassionate assisted living to secure memory care, Era Living respects and honors older adults by enhancing the quality of their lives. Learn more at eraliving.com.